Behind the flashbulbs and adoring female fans, some of the most desired British leading men hid a dangerous truth. From the 1960s to the 1990s, their real private lives could bring not just ruined careers, but time behind bars. Their desperate solution was a wedding ring, acting as the ultimate shield against public disgrace. Welcome back. Today, we uncovered the dramatic double lives of 10 British idols. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your guesses, and let us reveal the tears hidden behind the glamour.
Alan Bates.
A ruggedly handsome and magnetic presence on the British cinematic landscape, he captured the hearts of millions of devoted admirers. With his piercing gaze and undeniable charisma, he became an undisputed idol during the vibrant cultural shifts of the late 1960s. He projected an image of robust masculinity that made him the ultimate romantic dream for countless women across the nation. However, behind this meticulously crafted public persona, a very different reality existed. He was living in an era where revealing his true nature could lead to the sudden death of his career and a devastating loss of his hard-earned personal freedom. During the early days of his soaring fame, the British legal system maintained draconian laws regarding personal relationships. Men who harbored unconventional romantic feelings lived in constant fear of police raids, public exposure, and severe judicial punishment behind cold prison walls. The threat of total ruin hovered like a dark storm cloud over anyone who dared to step outside the rigidly enforced moral boundaries. To protect his success and avoid the catastrophic disgrace that had destroyed several peers, he needed a flawless disguise. The best armor a rising star could wear was a highly visible, completely traditional domestic life. In the year 1970, he took the definitive step to secure his societal standing by marrying a deeply talented and beautiful actress. Together, they presented the absolute picture of marital bliss to a hungry press. The subsequent arrival of their twin sons cemented his golden reputation as a completely devoted, respectable family man. This beautiful union provided an utterly impenetrable fortress against the relentless and prying eyes of ruthless tabloid journalists, who were permanently hunting for any hint of a scandalous revelation that could sell millions of newspapers. Yet the reality behind the heavy velvet curtains of their elegant London home told a heartbreakingly different story. While he undoubtedly possessed a deep affection for the mother of his children, his most passionate romantic inclinations were directed exclusively towards other men. Throughout the duration of his highly publicized marriage, he maintained intensely private, deeply hidden relationships far away from the flashing cameras of the paparazzi. His wife gradually became fully aware of his secret double life, which introduced an unbearable emotional tension into their seemingly perfect household, forcing her to endure a quiet, invisible agony. The immense psychological pressure of sustaining such a complex, lifelong deception slowly began to erode their domestic sanctuary. The heavy burden of pretending took a devastating toll on his wife, who battled quietly with severe emotional fragility and profound loneliness. This immense sorrow ultimately culminated in her tragic passing in the year 1992. He continued to deliver magnificent performances on the screen, but he carried the silent, heavy weight of his hidden truth until his own passing in the year 2003. His cinematic legacy is undeniable, yet his private journey remains a somber reminder of the terrible price exacted by an unforgiving society.
Peter Wyngarde.
As a mesmerizing television icon of the 1970s, he exuded an almost unparalleled level of flamboyant charm. With his magnificent moustache, impeccably tailored velvet suits, and a famously seductive voice, he defined a completely new kind of modern British masculinity. He was the undisputed star of immensely popular espionage dramas, transforming into a spectacular television idol whose face adorned millions of glossy magazine covers. Women across the entire nation constantly bombarded the busy television studios with heavy sacks of adoring fan mail. However, the magnificent swagger of his famous television detective persona was a carefully constructed shield designed to conceal a profoundly delicate reality. Behind the scenes of his spectacular triumphs, he constantly navigated a treacherous landscape where a single slip could spell utter devastation.
During his formative years in the industry, men with his specific romantic inclinations faced terrifying consequences under archaic British legal statutes. The horrifying prospect of sudden police raids and total social ruin haunted his every private movement. Long before reaching the dazzling heights of international stardom, he desperately sought to create a perfectly conventional facade to satisfy the rigid expectations of the conservative entertainment industry. In the early 1950s, he entered into a legally binding union with a highly respected and glamorous young actress. This extremely traditional marital arrangement was heavily intended to permanently silence the growing whispers regarding his closely guarded private associations. A completely ordinary domestic picture was his only reliable insurance policy. Despite the initial hopes that this strategic domestic arrangement would provide a permanent shelter, the fundamental truth of his heart proved utterly impossible to suppress forever. The young couple soon found themselves helplessly trapped in a remarkably hollow partnership that offered absolutely no genuine emotional fulfillment for either party. After only a few highly strained years together, the painful charade eventually crumbled, leading to their quiet separation. He subsequently relied on his overwhelmingly masculine on-screen image as a brilliant deflection. Tragically, the incredibly elaborate defensive walls he had spent entire decades building came crashing down in a highly publicized disaster. In the late 1970s, he was unexpectedly discovered in a severely compromising situation in a public location, leading to immediate police intervention and a devastating court appearance. The merciless tabloid press immediately turned his magnificent television career into ashes overnight, plunging him into deep professional exile. He ultimately departed this world in the year 2018.
Denham Elliott. A master of subtle charm and effortless sophistication, he graced the British silver screen with an unmistakable sense of refinement. Throughout his extensive and highly celebrated career, he became an essential pillar of international cinema and television. Audiences were completely captivated by his roguish smile and profoundly expressive eyes, which always hinted at hidden depths. He was the quintessential English gentleman, projecting a comforting aura of traditional reliability that made him incredibly attractive to millions of devoted admirers across the globe. Yet, beneath the polished exterior of this beloved cinematic icon lay a deeply concealed and intensely complex private reality that few were allowed to witness. He navigated the treacherous waters of the entertainment industry during an era when the British establishment was notoriously unforgiving. Individuals who harbored deeply unconventional romantic desires faced the constant, terrifying threat of criminal prosecution. A single whispered rumor or an unfortunate encounter could result in sudden arrest, public disgrace, and total professional destruction. Recognizing the immense danger that permanently surrounded his secret inclinations, he urgently sought a reliable shield against the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. In the year 1962, he entered into a highly publicized marriage with a beautiful, talented, and completely devoted woman. To the outside world and the ravenous press, their union appeared to be the absolute pinnacle of domestic harmony. The subsequent arrival of their two children further solidified his carefully constructed image as a perfectly respectable family man. Behind the firmly closed doors of their elegant residence, however, the dynamics of their relationship were profoundly complicated. He possessed an insatiable appetite for thrilling experiences and maintained a vibrant, clandestine existence hidden entirely in the shadows. His devoted spouse eventually became fully aware of his deeply hidden romantic preferences. She bravely chose to endure this incredibly difficult situation, providing him with a necessary anchor while quietly managing her own immense emotional turmoil away from the flashing cameras. The heavy psychological toll of maintaining this elaborate lifelong facade was utterly monumental for both individuals involved in the strained marriage. While he continued to deliver universally acclaimed performances on the silver screen, his secret adventures constantly risked exposing the fragile domestic sanctuary they had carefully built. The ever-present fear of an earth-shattering tabloid scandal dictated the extraordinarily cautious manner in which he conducted his private affairs throughout the 1970s and the 1980s.
Ultimately, the clandestine lifestyle he felt compelled to lead in order to survive brought about incredibly devastating consequences for his personal health. In the early 1990s, he tragically fell victim to a severe and merciless immunological condition that was quietly sweeping across the entire globe. He fought a remarkably courageous and silent battle against the rapid deterioration of his physical strength, finally departing this world in the year 1992. His brilliant legacy remains a testament to his immense and unforgettable talent.
Jeremy Brett. Blessed with aristocratic features and an incredibly piercing intensity, this magnificent performer commanded the absolute attention of every single viewer. His striking good looks and beautifully modulated voice made him a permanent fixture in the vivid dreams of countless adoring female fans. Throughout the 1960s, and reaching a triumphant peak in the 1980s, he established himself as a uniquely magnetic presence. He was the absolute embodiment of a fiercely independent, dashing English gentleman, capturing hearts across the entire nation with effortless grace. However, the remarkable elegance he effortlessly projected on the screen served as a brilliant mask for a profoundly tormented private existence. Behind the sharp cheekbones and the confident theatrical swagger lay a man deeply terrified of society discovering his guarded personal secrets.
The entertainment industry operated under a strict, unyielding moral code that ruthlessly punished any deviation from the established norm. An exposure of his unconventional affections would have instantly resulted in the brutal annihilation of his acting career and devastating legal consequences. Seeking a desperately needed harbor from the terrifying threat of public disgrace, he looked towards the highly protective shield of traditional matrimony. In the late 1950s, he enthusiastically entered into a celebrated union with a prominent and deeply respected young actress. The beautiful couple presented an image of absolute perfection, charming the aggressive tabloid journalists and solidifying his highly prized reputation. They soon welcomed a son, adding the final necessary brushstroke to his flawlessly painted portrait of complete, unshakable domestic normality. Yet the heavy theatrical curtain hiding his true nature could not remain securely closed against the relentless pressure of reality. The fundamental truth of his deepest romantic desires proved far too powerful to be permanently suppressed by a simple golden wedding band. His young wife eventually made an incredibly painful discovery regarding his intensely secret associations with other gentlemen, completely shattering the comforting illusion. Unable to sustain the immense psychological weight of this elaborate deception, their beautiful marriage eventually collapsed into quiet sorrow. The constant pressure to maintain a completely respectable facade never truly faded away, leading him to a second marriage in the late 1970s. His new spouse provided a deeply comforting anchor for his incredibly fragile emotional state, acting as a fierce protector. Tragically, when she departed this world in the middle of the 1980s, he lost his vital emotional shield, plunging into a profoundly dark melancholy. His physical health slowly deteriorated under the heavy weight of a broken heart, until his final breath in the year 1995. Alec Guinness.
Renowned as a brilliant cinematic chameleon, he possessed an almost supernatural ability to completely disappear
into absolutely any character. From grand historical epics to legendary science fiction sagas, he captivated audiences globally from the 1950s right through to the late 1990s. He projected an aura of absolute authority and quiet dignity, earning him the highest official honors of the British realm and establishing him as an irreplaceable national treasure. However, beneath this universally respected and flawlessly polished exterior, he fiercely guarded a profoundly complicated personal truth. He existed in a highly conservative era where acting upon his deepest romantic inclinations towards other gentlemen carried the terrifying threat of immediate imprisonment. The unforgiving legal system of the time showed absolutely no mercy to those who strayed from the rigidly enforced traditional path, promising nothing but total public humiliation. Recognizing the absolute necessity of a solid defense mechanism against a hostile society, he sought the protective embrace of conventional matrimony. Long before achieving his greatest cinematic triumphs, in the late 1930s, he entered into a lifelong union with a highly talented and devoted artist. To the aggressive tabloid reporters and his adoring public, this perfectly harmonious relationship provided an impenetrable shield of absolute respectability and traditional values. The subsequent arrival of their son served as the final perfect detail in his meticulously crafted masterpiece of absolute domestic normality. Yet, behind the securely locked doors of their beautiful countryside estate, he lived a remarkably dangerous double existence. Despite sharing a profound and genuine intellectual bond with his loyal spouse, he continuously sought thrilling, clandestine encounters, far removed from the glaring spotlight of his immense international cinematic fame. He constantly danced on the terrifying edge of complete disaster, allegedly even facing a highly perilous brush with the unforgiving authorities during the mid-1940s under a carefully assumed identity. The sheer psychological terror of potential discovery cast a permanent, dark shadow over his magnificent professional victories. His deeply devoted wife quietly accepted the painful complexities of their union, choosing to support his brilliant genius despite the heavy emotional cost. The phenomenal strength required to sustain this incredibly elaborate theatrical performance in his real life took a profound internal toll. He remained safely hidden behind his brilliant characters and his enduring marriage until he finally departed this world in the year 2000. His breathtaking artistic legacy continues to inspire completely new generations of performers, while his heavily guarded private journey remains a poignant testament to an incredibly demanding and harsh era. Michael Redgrave. Striking a commanding figure across both the theatrical stage and the silver screen, he possessed an almost regal presence that absolutely captivated British audiences for entire decades. With his towering height, deeply intelligent eyes, and a profoundly resonant voice that commanded instant respect, he was the absolute definition of a classical leading man. Throughout his magnificent career, he easily charmed millions of devoted admirers across the entire nation. He established a truly legendary acting dynasty, projecting an aura of robust masculinity that made him heavily desired by countless female fans. However, his phenomenal artistic success was quietly built upon a highly precarious foundation of deeply hidden and incredibly dangerous personal truths. He initially emerged into the dazzling spotlight during a terribly oppressive historical period when the unforgiving authorities strictly policed all private matters of the heart. Any gentleman caught actively pursuing romantic connections with members of the same gender faced the terrifying prospect of a sudden, brutal police raid. The absolute certainty of devastating public trials, total professional annihilation, and a cold prison cell hung permanently over his head. Seeking a completely unshakable defense against the permanent and terrifying threat of a scandalous public unmasking,
he urgently secured a highly strategic domestic alliance. In the middle of the 1930s, he entered into a lifelong union with a stunningly beautiful and deeply gifted fellow performer. To the deeply nosy outside world and the permanently hungry journalists, their grand household appeared to be a flawless sanctuary of absolute traditional values. This incredibly brilliant move effectively silenced any dangerous whispers that were circulating within the artistic community.
The highly celebrated arrival of their three incredibly talented children firmly cemented his golden, untouchable reputation as a perfectly ordinary and completely devoted family patriarch. Yet the astonishing reality hidden safely behind the heavy doors of their glamorous residence was profoundly intricate and heavily layered. His fiercely loyal spouse soon became entirely aware of his passionate, clandestine associations with a wide variety of handsome young gentlemen. Instead of destroying their family, she courageously chose to bravely accept his complicated nature, creating a remarkably unconventional arrangement. He constantly walked a terrifying and exceptionally narrow tightrope, desperately balancing his towering professional responsibilities with his deeply hidden romantic adventures. The immense psychological weight of maintaining this elaborate lifelong charade in front of the relentless tabloid press required a monumental level of daily emotional endurance. His remarkably dedicated wife continuously provided a vital anchor, quietly enduring her own private sorrow, far away from the flashing cameras. She fiercely protected the brilliant father of her beloved children, ensuring his public image remained untarnished by scandal. Despite the immense pressure of his heavily guarded double existence, he miraculously managed to completely avoid the devastating legal consequences that destroyed so many of his unfortunate peers. He continued to deliver universally acclaimed performances well into his twilight years, successfully remaining a towering pillar of the conservative British entertainment establishment. After an incredibly complicated journey, he finally departed this world in the year 1985. He left behind an astonishing artistic legacy, alongside a deeply poignant story of determined survival against overwhelming societal odds. Lawrence Harvey. Seductive charm and relentless ambition defined his spectacular rise to the very pinnacle of the international entertainment industry. With his smoldering gaze, razor-sharp cheekbones, and an undeniably aristocratic aura, he became a massive cinematic sensation. Throughout the late 1950s and the swinging 1960s, he specialized in portraying brooding, deeply troubled romantic leads. Millions of devoted female admirers were completely captivated by his incredible elegance, elevating him to the ultimate status of a highly desired, magnificent idol. Yet, beneath this beautifully manufactured image of an irresistible leading man, a fiercely guarded and entirely different reality operated quietly in the shadows. To achieve his monumental dreams of cinematic immortality, he had to navigate a viciously judgmental and unforgiving British society. The rigidly enforced laws of that specific era harshly condemned gentlemen who possessed romantic inclinations towards their own gender. The relentless authorities threatened any offenders with brutal public trials, a completely shattered reputation, and deeply terrifying prison cells. Fully aware that a single whispered scandal could permanently annihilate his meticulously built career overnight, he urgently sought the ultimate protective armor. He intuitively understood that a glamorous and highly publicized wedding would serve as an impenetrable shield against the dangerous rumors constantly circling his private life. In the late 1950s, he strategically orchestrated a lavish marriage with a significantly older, highly established, and universally respected British actress, creating a brilliant and blinding distraction for the press. This remarkably calculated marital alliance provided an absolutely flawless cover for his deeply hidden
genuinely passionate romantic adventures. While the aggressive tabloid newspapers continuously published endless glossy photographs of the seemingly perfect couple, the heavily secured doors of their elegant London residence hid a profoundly hollow partnership. His deeply devoted spouse endured an immense emotional agony, eventually discovering the painful reality that his true, most profound affections were exclusively directed towards highly influential gentlemen. The monumental psychological stress of living a permanent double life required an astonishing level of daily theatrical deception from the rising star. He continuously moved between deeply secret, heavily concealed encounters, while desperately maintaining his golden, robustly masculine cinematic reputation for his adoring female fans. When his first, highly strained union eventually collapsed under the unbearable weight of his hidden truths, he quickly secured another remarkably convenient marriage to maintain his absolutely vital, highly protective social camouflage. He relentlessly pushed himself to the absolute limit, permanently terrified of losing the glamorous cinematic crown he had sacrificed his own personal truth to acquire. Tragically, his incredibly turbulent and heavily concealed journey was brutally cut short when he suddenly succumbed to a rapid and devastating physical illness. He officially departed this world at a remarkably young age, in the year 1973. He left behind a magnificent artistic legacy, forever shadowed by the immense, heartbreaking tragedy of a deeply hidden and entirely fractured soul.
Dennis Price. Radiating an aristocratic sophistication and a delightfully wicked intelligence, he established himself as an absolutely unforgettable presence on the British silver screen. With his impeccably tailored suits, his beautifully modulated voice, and a notoriously seductive smile, he effortlessly conquered the extremely demanding entertainment world. Throughout the golden era of cinema, and continuing strongly into the deeply turbulent 1960s and early 1970s, he was universally admired. Millions of devoted female admirers viewed him as the ultimate embodiment of polished, devastatingly handsome English charm, ensuring his magnificent face constantly appeared in leading glossy publications. However, behind the brilliant aristocratic sneer and the phenomenal professional triumphs, he was a deeply terrified man, fighting a permanent, completely invisible war. He existed during an incredibly unforgiving historical chapter, when the highest British authorities ruthlessly hunted down any gentleman who possessed romantic inclinations towards their own gender. The merciless legal system of the era completely destroyed countless lives, threatening offenders with highly publicized trials, totally shattered reputations, and devastatingly long sentences in cold, unforgiving prison cells. To survive in this terrifying landscape, he desperately needed an unshakable, utterly flawless public disguise. Recognizing that remaining a highly eligible unmarried bachelor would inevitably invite dangerous suspicion from the aggressive tabloid press, he eagerly sought the ultimate protective shield. Just as his magnificent cinematic career was truly beginning to soar, he entered into a highly publicized union with a beautiful and profoundly respected young actress. The deeply glamorous couple presented an absolutely perfect image to the permanently hungry journalists, effectively silencing any dangerous whispers. The subsequent arrival of their two wonderful daughters firmly completed his magnificent masterpiece of traditional, unshakable domestic normality, providing him with vital breathing room. Yet, the incredibly heavy, velvet curtain hiding his true nature could not remain permanently closed against the relentless and overwhelming pressure of his genuine reality. The fundamental truth of his deepest romantic desires proved far too powerful to be completely suppressed by a simple golden wedding band. Behind securely locked doors, he continued to seek thrilling, highly clandestine encounters, far removed from the glaring spotlight of his immense fame.
His deeply devoted spouse eventually discovered the incredibly painful reality of his secret associations, and unable to sustain the immense psychological weight of the deception, their beautiful marriage eventually collapsed. The monumental psychological stress of living a permanent double life, combined with the terrifying threat of ruthless blackmailers who frequently targeted vulnerable gentlemen in the industry, took a profoundly devastating toll. He continuously moved between incredibly secret, heavily concealed encounters, desperately maintaining his robustly masculine cinematic reputation while secretly fighting massive financial difficulties. He eventually sought dangerous solace in a heavy reliance on strong spirits, desperately trying to numb the profound emotional agony of his deeply fractured existence. He officially departed this world in the year 1973, leaving behind a magnificent cinematic legacy forever shadowed by immense private sorrow.
Elton John.
Exploding onto the global entertainment stage with an unmatched level of flamboyant brilliance, he completely redefined the modern British musical landscape. With his phenomenally powerful voice, his astonishing talent at the piano, and a deeply charismatic presence, he became an absolute colossus of the 1970s. Millions of wildly devoted fans across the entire world worshipped his every spectacular performance, transforming him into a monumental international idol. He possessed a uniquely captivating charm that transcended ordinary stardom, projecting an aura of completely limitless creative energy that deeply fascinated countless adoring admirers. However, beneath the incredibly magnificent theatrical costumes and the permanently glittering spectacles, a profoundly vulnerable individual was constantly fighting a terrifying hidden battle. Despite his unimaginable professional triumphs and his staggering accumulation of wealth, he existed during a remarkably judgmental and conservative historical era. The incredibly aggressive British tabloid press ruthlessly hunted for any deeply scandalous revelations that could instantly shatter a golden reputation. A completely public confirmation of his true romantic inclinations towards other gentlemen threatened to severely alienate his massive global audience and completely destroy his immense artistic empire. Desperately seeking a deeply reliable sanctuary from the relentless, terrifying pressure of endless public speculation, he unexpectedly sought the highly traditional shield of conventional matrimony. In the year 1984, during a massively publicized international tour, he utterly shocked the entire world by entering into a sudden marriage with a beautiful and deeply talented female sound engineer. The profoundly glamorous wedding ceremony provided the permanently hungry journalists with an incredibly perfect image of absolute traditional normality. This highly strategic domestic alliance temporarily silenced the dangerous, swirling rumors regarding his heavily guarded private life. Yet, the completely astonishing reality hidden safely behind the heavily secured doors of their luxurious residences was profoundly heartbreaking and deeply complex. While he undoubtedly harbored a very genuine, incredibly deep, affectionate respect for his highly devoted new spouse, his most passionate romantic desires remained completely unchanged. He was essentially trapped in a remarkably beautiful but profoundly hollow partnership that offered absolutely no genuine emotional fulfillment for his deepest, authentic needs. His fiercely loyal wife eventually became entirely aware of the immense, heavily concealed internal agony that constantly tormented her brilliant husband.
The monumental psychological stress of maintaining this incredibly elaborate, highly publicized theatrical performance in his private life took an absolutely devastating toll on his fragile well-being. He continuously moved between deeply secret, heavily concealed emotional encounters and his completely exhausting professional responsibilities, desperately trying to maintain his magnificent public camouflage. To completely numb the profound emotional agony of his deeply fractured existence, he tragically developed a heavy reliance on highly dangerous, illicit substances and strong spirits,
pushing his physical health to the absolute edge of total destruction. Ultimately, the incredibly beautiful but entirely fabricated marital illusion completely collapsed under the unbearable, crushing weight of his absolute, undeniable truth. After merely a few highly strained years of desperately trying to sustain the impossible domestic charade, the deeply sorrowful couple officially agreed to a quiet and incredibly respectful separation in the late 1980s. Fortunately, unlike so many unfortunate stars of his generation, he miraculously survived the deeply terrifying destruction of his carefully constructed double life. He subsequently embraced his magnificent, authentic identity, remaining an incredibly towering, universally beloved pillar of the British entertainment industry to this very day.
Cary Grant. Originating from humble British beginnings in the coastal city of Bristol, he completely transformed himself into the ultimate, globally worshipped symbol of absolute masculine elegance. With his phenomenally devastating charm, his perfectly tailored suits, and a mesmerizing, unique transatlantic voice, he dominated the silver screen for decades. As his magnificent career extended beautifully into the late 1960s, millions of devoted female admirers considered him the absolute pinnacle of romantic perfection. He projected an aura of effortless sophistication that made him arguably the most heavily desired leading man in cinematic history. However, the brilliantly polished, utterly flawless public persona he presented to the adoring world served as a highly elaborate fortress designed to conceal a profoundly complex private reality. He navigated the viciously judgmental entertainment industry during a terrifying historical chapter, when the highest authorities ruthlessly punished any unconventional romantic inclinations. The strict moral codes of the era threatened any gentleman caught pursuing deeply secret associations with other men with immediate public ruin and deeply terrifying prison sentences. To protect his monumental empire, he required an unshakable public disguise. Recognizing that his immensely close, highly private domestic arrangement with another famously handsome gentleman was attracting dangerous suspicion, he strategically embraced the protective shield of traditional matrimony. Throughout his magnificent career, he entered into multiple highly publicized marriages with incredibly beautiful women, constantly providing the aggressive tabloid journalists with a blinding distraction. Each deeply celebrated wedding perfectly reinforced his highly prized, robustly masculine cinematic reputation, effectively silencing the dangerous whispers that continuously circulated within the exclusive circles of the elite. Yet, the astonishing reality hidden safely behind the heavily secured doors of his magnificent estates was profoundly layered and incredibly heavily guarded. While he undoubtedly harbored genuine affection for the remarkable women he officially married, his deepest, most profound romantic connections were frequently directed towards highly influential gentlemen far away from the cameras. His multiple devoted spouses eventually discovered the incredibly painful reality of his heavily concealed internal world, leading to a relentless series of quiet, highly complex domestic separations, carefully managed to avoid total public scandal. The monumental psychological stress of maintaining this incredibly elaborate, highly publicized theatrical performance throughout his entire adult life required an astonishing level of emotional endurance. He continuously moved between deeply secret, heavily concealed emotional encounters and his completely exhausting professional responsibilities, permanently terrified of losing his golden crown. He ultimately chose to gracefully retire from the glaring spotlight in the late 1960s, quietly carrying his profound secrets until he officially departed this world in the year 1986. His unmatched artistic legacy remains forever shadowed by a beautiful, lifelong deception.